as well. We definitely appreciate that. So, Steve, and also just a reminder, we did make it official that Steve is going to be coming on my show, pretty much taking over my show every Wednesday, 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, commenting on your questions, people that are just tuning in, and also what's going on with the conventions, presently, the ones that are taking place over the weekends and during the week, and the ones we have to come. So, Steve, we have about a good maybe 8 or 9 minutes left, man. Anything you want to touch on before we run out of time?
Yeah, there's actually 3 things that I want to actually talk about. I saw some things in the chat room during the break.
Okay.
Somebody had, asked, do you get paid by the Republican Party? No, I'm not paid by the Republican Party in any way, shape, or form. Never have been. In fact, I left the Democratic Party. I've only recently become a Republican, so no, I'm not paid by them in any way. Somebody also stated in the chat room that we're wasting our time here. We need to be talking about the state specifically. Well, I'm sorry. I cannot possibly, as one human being, discuss every single bylaw in every single district of every single state. That's up to you. Stop letting other people do it for you and go and do it for yourselves. This way you know without exception that the information is correct. But I can't possibly do it. I'm sorry.
And we don't want Steve giving out incorrect information, or if he's mixing it up, or if he doesn't have it all packed, because like you said, you can't know it all. So, yes, we have to take the time to read it ourselves. I know we probably don't want to. It's probably boring. But, it's better. We got to fight for our rights. And if this is what we have to do, and this is the battle of the time right now, then that's what we got to do. And you said you wanted a third thing you want to touch on?
Yeah. I want to talk about, because we didn't get to do this throughout the show. In Georgia, at their convention, okay, I saw a clip of there was a resolution on the floor, okay, to call on all members of Congress from the Georgia Republican Party to repeal the NDAA. Okay, and that motion went to the floor. And it was voted on. And it was voted on by overwhelming majority. Okay? Now, then someone made a motion to amend that resolution. And what the amendment was going to be was for the Georgia Republican Party not to endorse any candidate that either voted or is in support of the NDAA. That was put to the floor. It was voted on unanimously to adopt the amendment. Okay, then what ended up happening is it went back into debate. Okay? Now this is where it went all wrong. So the moral of my story here is, folks, if we do not have a clear majority at these conventions, if you get something that passes, don't try to amend it. Just leave it alone and try to bring up another resolution to support your point. Because here's what happened, and this was detrimental. This is where people thought they got cheated, but they didn't. So it went back into debate. While it was into debate, the person that actually put the resolution forward said, I hereby withdraw this resolution. So it could no longer be considered because he was the originator. Okay, apparently he was the originator of the resolution. He withdrew it. So now everything that they did doesn't even matter. Now some people were saying, well, but we got cheated because we actually voted on and adopted that resolution. Well, you're right. But when you decided to vote to amend that resolution meant nothing anymore because now it's a completely different resolution. And see, this is why this stuff is confusing, Paco, that people need to understand. When you folks voted to amend that resolution, it's like it was never even voted on because it becomes something completely different. And since it was withdrawn, now there's nothing in the Republican Party platform to call on people, all Congress people, to repeal the NDAA. So we had a great victory from the start. And I applaud the efforts of the person that decided to do that. They probably thought they were doing a good thing, but they didn't think it through because we did not have the numbers in Georgia to get our agenda through.
Yeah, we
That's
definitely
all I really wanted to say.
Yeah, we definitely got to have the numbers, you guys, if we're going to make a difference. I mean, we know Romney doesn't have the numbers, but if we don't show up thinking that, then they're going to take it over. I mean, this is the establishment. They know their rules. They know what they're doing. They know when they're cheating or when they're outmaneuvering us, and they're definitely not going to help us out. Definitely not going to help us out. I just found out yesterday you used to be in the Democrat Party. I didn't even know that, Steve.
Yeah, I was actually an administrator in the Democratic Party for like 7 years of my life. I mean, this is how I knew all this stuff and got involved in parliamentarian procedure and, you know, delegate process and all of this. I mean, when you become an administrator, you better know what you're doing, you know, or somebody's going to replace you. Then I found Ron Paul, and I said, there's my guy, and, you know, I realized what the Democratic Party was doing was completely wrong from what I was brainwashed.
Yep, I mean, there's a lot of us. I used to call myself a Democrat, too, when I was younger, but I didn't know anything about politics. Ron Paul came out and woke me up. Someone said here, Steve, I wasn't asking if you got paid, by the way. I was asking if you or someone gets paid to be on the Republican chair or committee or whatever. Not sure if you were talking about my comment.
Oh, yeah, cool beans. I was actually addressing your comment. I thought you were asking me if I had ever been paid. I don't know if the chair, I mean, I would assume that the chair of the party probably gets some type of compensation, potentially the officers, but then again, I could be wrong about that. I've actually never been, you know, a chair in any of those types of parties to be able to make a comment to, you know, even talk about that. So I'm sorry, I can't answer your question because I don't know.
Okay. And again, since we have a couple more minutes left, I want to definitely take the time out again to let you guys know about this voice chat that we got going on at 6 p.m. Steve is staying really busy today, so what's that? Another hour. Steve is going to be over on RonPaulTribune.com. You can scroll down, click on the voice chat, and you can join us. And if you have any questions, if you missed the interview, you can ask them there, or you can scroll down on RonPaulRadio.com in the podcast, and you can download this interview both hours, and you can have it for yourself. But Steve will be at RonPaulTribune.com for however long, taking questions, possibly doing mock conventions. So please join us. Please bring in more delegates. That's what we really want. If we could bring in more delegates into this meeting that we're having, then we could probably get even more answers, more questions answered. And tomorrow we will be having the Fish Sisters on, the ones that you stream, the Oklahoma conventions. They will be on to talk about what happened from their end yesterday. And we will have, what is this, a representative running, Bruce Ray Riggs, running for U.S. House of Representatives, Florida, 5th Congressional District. And did you want to tell them again, Tracy Show, Liberty Chat?
Yeah, tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, I will be on Tracy Diaz's show at libertychat.com. It will be myself and the former producer of Freedom Watch with Judge Andrew Napolitano. Tomorrow night, 9 p.m. I want to answer one more question real quick, though, Paco. Somebody says, how does a novice learn Robert's Rules of Order the easy way? Well, folks, over at RonPaulTribune.com for the last couple of days, we've been holding mock conventions in there. If you want to kind of get the gist of how to operate in a convention format, come over and join us. You know, if I've got time to do it, I have no problems teaching you folks how to run a convention. It gets you used to making motions. It gets you used to voting. It gets you used to objecting. It's a good training tool that I'm offering my services for free, and I'll be there in another hour, RonPaulTribune.com, to try and answer any more questions if you have them.
Yes, and I just want to say, Steve, we definitely appreciate it. I appreciate you coming on the show and doing this every week now, and also being in the chat room has been really interesting. We had, you know, you guys got to come check it out. You know, sometimes there be other issues talked about, but we try to keep it to the delegates. We try to keep talking about the conventions because that's the main thing. That's the main battle right now, and I'm sure a lot of us is grateful, Steve, that you're up there with us. We probably got about 30 seconds left. You got any last things you want to say before we head out?
It's extremely important that you folks get to your conventions. If we don't have the numbers, we can't win. Okay? Learn these rules. Understand the rules. They are your best friend. Eat, sleep, drink them. You have to understand how the game is played for you to be effective. Because like I said earlier in the show, in some cases we're being cheated, folks, but in other cases we're being outmaneuvered because we don't know the rules. Don't get outmaneuvered.
And with that,
okay?
we're
Get
out.
in there and learn the rules.
And with that, we're out. I'm Paco, your host.